Hello and welcome back to Cattenvir. As you can see, we have some migrants. It is the 26th of Malachite, 126. Now the migrants have entered the map from over here. Let's have a quick look around. They're quite far off. They're at the, well, more or less the middle of the west of the map. So let's unpause and see how many we've got. We've got 1, 2, really? Is that all? We've got 2 migrants. No, 3. They're slowly showing up. No, more. Okay. I think the problem is they've got nowhere to go. Let's see if we can't fix that for them. Let's make a little meeting room. I should have made one of this. Oh! I haven't actually made this into a dining room. My bad. Let's get that set up. I thought I'd made it a dining room. Perhaps I had not. Let's go ahead and make that a meeting hall. There we go. So, what other rooms haven't I made? I'm fairly certain I've made a bedroom, yes. I've made an office, yes. Oh, fair enough then. I just hadn't made a dining room. Now, this is considered a meeting hall, which means that idle dwarves will prioritize going there and hanging out in there rather than anywhere else. As you can see, Evelyn is partway through hollowing out that hill there. The migrants appeared a little bit sooner than I was imagining. And I've done a little bit of a change down here. Now, after a couple of the comments, I've decided to make this initial hall a little bit shorter, and we're not going to have rooms branching off this directly. As someone pointed out, this may well become a battlegrounds, and with that comes certain considerations that we need to make. Firstly, we don't want easy access for anything that's pouring into our fort to get down into the other rooms or stairwells or anything like that. So we're going to have a corridor branching off down here that's going to lead to stairwells and possibly offices. But also, we are going to build some defenses. Probably across a small sort of pit. Deep enough to do serious damage to someone and maybe not even connected to anything, once you're in there, you're dead. But we're going to have ballistas over on this side, across the pit. Now, siege weapons are operated by civilians, not military. That's something that you really do need to keep in mind. So, with civilians being generally skittish of enemies, you don't want them to be anywhere near the enemies, because if the enemies get too close, the civilians will just lose their shit and just bail. And you don't really want that when you're relying on your siege weapons to defend your fort. So, by putting them across a pit and ideally quite far away from the fighting, these ballista will be able to kill quite a lot of things. Now, ballista are seriously dangerous weapons. They basically fire sharpened trees at things. So yeah, you don't want any of your people in the way of that, but we'll have to think of how we're going to do that. But for now, let's wait for these migrants to get over here. We should have a few. Are they still hanging out up here? Are they still chilling? There's 1 or 2. But let's have a look at who we've got then. If we bring up Z, we should see our population. It's gone from 7 to 15. That's fantastic news. Now, I'm going to flick over to Dwarf Therapist, and we will see exactly what kind of spreads of skills we have. So see you in a few moments. And here we are. Now, if we read the dwarves, we've suddenly got an extremely large list. Wow. Okay, let's have a quick gander at what kind of skills we've got. We've got fishing. That's actually pretty cool. We've actually got someone who's pretty big in fishing down there as well. That's going to be really nice because fishing is a very, very stable food source early on. Got someone who's got some cloth working skills, pottery, wax working. Wow, you got an interesting spread. We've got a lot of people with skills in the sort of agriculture area. A couple with skills in, well, no, just wood cutting really, but you are a very good lumberjack. Wow. You're also a fisher again. Wow, yeah, we've got a lot of skills in there. Not too many elsewhere. Okay, give me a few moments. I'm going to go ahead and pour over these numbers myself off screen. And when you return, I will have renamed people and assigned them new jobs, and I'll quickly cover who is now in the fort and what their role is going to be. So see you in a few moments. And hello, welcome back. I've gone ahead and done much of the work. I've already set up the custom professions, but I haven't yet actually assigned the professions to those I've renamed. Now, the reason for that, I just wanted to quickly cover something that I do as a bit of a organizational aid, really. I made a profession called Labourer, to which I assigned everyone who wasn't already named. I'll cover the military part in just a moment. Basically, this just has a stock set of labours just to haul things around, really. This helps keep them all in a list, because previously you saw it was all kind of scattered all over the place, and it was kind of hard to know who you'd renamed, who you hadn't, who had been assigned a task, who hadn't. So this just clusters them all together and puts all of their skills in a blob, and you can see then very easily who would best suit which profession based on which kind of colour most of their skills lay in. Those who I'm going to put in the military, I've just shunted into a military profession, and although these won't really have any effect unless they're off duty, I believe, and I know that in terms of efficiency it would be much better if they had all of these turned on, but I kind of like the whole kind of in-characterness of it, that when my military are standing down from a hard day's training, or, you know, killing goblins or watching their friends die, they get to go and put their feet up in the Great Hall, drink ale, talk about the good old days, the stories of the fallen, and not be asked to run around carrying barrels of food. I just think that would be an insult to my military. Honestly, this is shore leave, not extra work. They do have to bury people because, you know, they're probably burying their fallen, you know, having a little ritual, standing around the graves, singing old songs, something like that. So we've got Spartan, Para, and Texfer. And Spartan is a hammer dwarf, or will be. Texfer will be an... Para will be an axe dwarf, and Texfer will be a spear dwarf. We have to make these weapons. Now, as for the civilians, Millionfowl is going to be our angler. And as you can imagine, an angler does fishing. No specific tool, but Millionfowl will be bringing in a lot of food, I imagine, or hope, rather. Samscale will be our... Let's see, you're going to be our hunt dwarf, because Samscale also has some good military skills. Is a good ambusher, which means he can sneak up on things, and is a marks dwarf, so that will work for you as soon as we've made a crossbow. The next one is Rock, and Rock is going to be joining our miner Evelyn. Hurrah! More hands to cut through the stone. So where are you? Stonesmith? There we go. And Blood Alchemy is going to be joining Sheelab as a foodsmith. And finally, Edna is going to be joining Flying Staplers as a druid, which is great, really, because we need those farms prepared. Well, the farms that we're going to be making very shortly. So let's commit those changes. There we go. So we've got 2 druids, 2 foodsmiths, a hunt dwarf, metalsmith, doctor, angler, administrator, 3 military, 2 stonesmiths, and a woodsmith. That is the state of play at the moment. Now, I'm going to switch back to the game, so see you in a moment. And here we are. Now, they've all been assigned jobs, so they should hopefully get out there and do them. But what we need to do is quickly have a look at what we can make for our dwarves in terms of weapons. We need to see how many bars we've got. Where is that going to be? Have I already passed it? I may have. No, I haven't. We've got 3 silver bars and 13 copper bars. Okay. Now, we'll be making wooden bolts for the time being, I think. But with that many copper, we might have enough. We're not going to have enough to make armor, but, you know, copper weapons are better than no weapon at all. So, we want a battle axe for our axe dwarf. We also want a spear for our spear dwarf. That'll take 4. Let me just double check how much we had. I forget. We'll go down here to bars. We had 13. Okay, that's fine then. We're going to need charcoal for this though, and I should probably have made that first. We're going to need about 4 things. So hopefully Plump will get to making those swiftly. Now, I'll quickly set up the stockpile here. I'm going to have to actually have a look at the settings, because I have to mirror these settings in a moment. So I don't believe you can just expand the stockpile, unfortunately. So no corpses, stone or wood, just pretty much everything else, including bones. Well, that's okay then. And this one is giving to the food stockpile. Yeah, okay. Right, well, now what we do is we're going to get rid of this one with X to remove. And like that. And then C for custom stockpile, T for settings, and it should actually already be set. I think that if you've just visited a stockpile, it'll remember those settings. So I'll plant that down like that, and also set this one to give to the other stock. Actually, no, we'll set this one to take. I don't know if this makes any difference, but from what I understand, if something is a stockpile is giving to something else, then that stockpile or workshop will only accept from that place. So I'm not really sure, but we'll see how that works. Now then, so everyone should be getting out there and doing stuff, and Evelyn is now free to do some work. Well, actually, both of our miners are now free to do some work. We want a well before we do anything else, so let's have a look at setting that up. How would be the best way to do this? Let's... Yeah, we'll make a down stairway here. So... No. I... No, that's an up-down. Damn it. J. Haha. Downward stairway... No, not there. We'll put the down stair here. Go down. That should, I think, make an upward stairway. It's been a while, so I'm just going to double-check that before anything stupid happens. Okay. Has that made an up stairway? No, it has not. Okay, fair enough. This is only going to be a single layer, so I'm not going to worry too much about building in the ability to increase this. We just want it to be a certain size, so we'll just hollow this area out about yay big. Actually, we want this to be channeled. And then down on this level, we want a mine to about... Actually, no. We're going to need that to be channeled, but not down here. If I did that, I'd have to mine up, and that would cause all sorts of problems. We're going to just have a regular channel moving all the way over there. Sorry, a regular tunnel moving all the way there. By channeling this down, though, we're going to add a bit of a reservoir so that our dwarves will hopefully be able to gather enough water to see them through the winter, basically. And we'll drop a little channel here as well. So there we go. That's your task. Chop, chop. Need this done quickly. All right, so that's already gone down. They're going to hollow this area out. There goes Evelyn. Oh, it's raining. That's not so good. Now, once this is done, I'm going to have that lower level get rid of some of those ramps. I don't know how much room they actually take up, but no reason to leave these ramps if it might decrease the amount of water that can be on the tile. We'll leave those two little ramps there, though. That'll do. Let's just check this out. I'm getting a report on something. Oh. Damn it. Oh, you actually came with a crossbow? That's fantastic. Well done. Flying copper bolt. So we've actually... He's already taking things down. That's fantastic. Seriously awesome. Let's build a quick butcher's shop then so that we can make use of these kills. Though I'm a little bit concerned that he's fighting drakes. I mean, what? Drakes, really? We're going to put the butcher shop outside of the rest of the cooking. Simply because if stuff gets left here by the dwarves, because the hauling tasks are a bit messed up, then it can cause miasma, which is not good. The dwarves do not appreciate miasma. So we'll leave the butchers outside, and perhaps we should set up a little refuse pile soon, actually. An actual proper one for corpses. So we'll make a corpse/refuse pile, and we'll set it about here. Yeah, that'll do. So we'll go in there now and set the settings. We also want you to take refuse, so enable that. But we want to block skulls, bones, shells, teeth, hooves, and horns. We only want body parts and other sundry bits from a corpse. So that should be set up fairly quickly. And there we go. Is that last one being done? Yes. Fantastic. Right, that is ready for our well now. But to build the well, we're going to need to come... No, not in there. We need wells. Where's that going to be? I think we build it through here. Well, there we go. We need blocks and we need mechanisms. Okay, so we need some stone blocks. Let's get that going. I'm not sure how many. We'll just build 5. And we'll also build a machinist shop. Yeah, we've got enough rock, I think, for this. Build, workshop, mechanics. We'll build this up here, just like the crafts dwarf workshop, and we'll make this one out of shale as well. So there we go. Chop, chop. Wow, what did you just bring in there? What are you carrying? Let's see. Blood alchemy is carrying something, and I would like to know what. I don't like seeing flashing Ds, because that usually means dog. Inventory. Pigtail. Drake corpse. Oh, okay. Well done. It's carrying the Drake corpse down there. Fantastic. I approve. Have we got the butchers up yet? Yes, we have. Haha. Butcher dead animal? Will you? Well, there's a Drake corpse there. Sometimes that's a little bit weird. Are you fighting anything else? No. Tendon has been torn. Shattered bone, what? Zoom to location. Okay, that was him beating the crap out of the Drake, I suspect. Now, you may notice that some of these things have got little curly braces on it. That means it's forbidden, I believe. So what we want to do is we want to claim that so that they'll go and pick it up. You can make it auto-claim these sorts of things, and that's not something I've actually shown. If you have a look at the stuff here, you can see there's O for options, I believe, set orders. Now, currently we've got announced some job cancellations. You can make that really verbose, in which case it's always going to be getting on your nerves, so I just leave it at that generally. Dwarves gather animals. You can set that to ignore them, but we want them to be gathered. Dwarves gather food, gather furniture, gather bodies. We definitely want that. You can give specific refuse orders. That is, they'll gather refuse off the floor, or they'll ignore refuse outside. So, for example, if a cat's been going around some, the other side of the map killing flies, the dwarves are going to ignore it. Generally speaking, that's worth having there. Now, save corpses, skulls, bones, shells, all these sort of things means that they're going to try and preserve them rather than just let them rot on the floor. F forbid, I'm not sure what that is. Forbid used ammunition, no. I would rather claim them, honestly. There is a good time to do that. Like in the middle of a siege, it's very, very good not to have your dwarves becoming obsessed with rushing out and trying to pick up broken arrows or, the loot off a dead goblin and thus putting themselves in harm's way. We also need a mechanism. No. Oh, no one's got mechanics yet. Okay, so that is something we need to look at. So bear with me while I just flick over to Dwarf Therapist and sort that out. Let's see now. I think we should add that to our stonesmiths, really. Yeah, I think we should give them the mechanics rate. So we're going to add that on here, like so. But then I'll also make an edit here to add mechanics. There we go. So commit these changes. Right, so now our stonesmiths can also do mechanics. We should either see Evelyn or Rock go and finish construction of the mechanics workshop, which is quite important. Now, really, is there no new task? Because I would really like it if you would butcher an animal. Oh, I know. No one's got butchering, probably. Let's have a quick look at that. Has anyone got butchering? Oh, no. No, our foodsmiths do have butchering. Right then. Right. I'm not sure why they're not butchering that drake, and it's a little bit frustrating. I've had some issues with butchering in the past where it hasn't triggered properly for some reason or another, but we'll have to see. Now, hopefully, one of our stonesmiths will rush off there and build a mechanism, and with that, we'll actually be able to set up the well. But whilst they're doing that, I think it's high time that we actually built a wall. Now, you get to the wall, like the terrain construction screen, by pressing capital C from the build menu. So B, C usually. Now we want a wall, and we're going to expand it with U and M so that it'll be horizontally expanded, and we're going to make it about yay long. We want to use logs for this because we've got a lot of logs. Actually, we've got yeah, we've got a lot of logs, so we're going to use these. So oak logs first, and there we go. And again, we'll leave, like I said, we'll leave a little 1 tile gap there so that we can have our dogs there. Though we could make it 2 tile gap and just tie the dogs up in a certain position, but I think making it 1 is good enough for us. So again, oak logs if we've got enough. We don't, we've only got 6. So we'll go for chestnut logs then. And finally, we're going to expand this one out that way. And again, chestnut logs, we're going to just run out, so we're going to move on to alder logs. And there we go. Right, hopefully that should get done pretty quickly. And then we'll have a slightly more secure little base camp. And then I'll channel down and actually start filling that reservoir with water just as soon as we've got the mechanisms that we need. I think we might do. No, it's still active, so someone's rushing out there. Yeah, there we go. Now, some people have mentioned that I'm commenting on things happening in the screen when other people can't really understand what's going on. Like I'll say, oh, Shelab's doing some work or Aavak's doing some work, and not everyone else can tell which one's Shelab, which one's Aavak. I will try to use my mouse to single people out a little bit more. For example, that is Evelyn, I believe. And she has just built the mechanism we need. So if we go to build and then well, we should be able to get this set up. Yep, there we go. So it needs an open space, which is why we already channeled that hole in the floor. We're going to make it out of a shale block, and we're going to have to use one of our buckets. Now, buckets are important because that's how people will carry water to the wounded. So make sure you've got buckets in your fort, spare buckets. So we'll set that one up, and one of our pigtail fiber ropes and one of the shale mechanisms, and that should get done fairly quickly. Now, whilst they're working on that, I'm going to give either Evelyn or Rock the permission to go and channel this out. So we want to make a slight channel there, and what that will do is it'll break down the wall underground. It looks like Evelyn there is rushing off. I think that's Evelyn. I'll be embarrassed if it's not. Yes, it's Evelyn. We can tell who Evelyn is because she's bald. Now, with that done, the water is going to start flooding into this area. Now, water does have pressure, so keep that in mind. If you build in a certain way, you could end up with water just gushing out over here and overflowing. That won't happen in this particular situation. And all of the sort of white you were seeing there was like a steam, mist. Well, not steam. Specifically like a watery vapor. That is actually really, really good for the dwarves. The dwarves like that. But now we've got a well there, the dwarves will use that to drink if there's not booze around, which hopefully there always will be. But that will set them up now. Ooh, what's happening? Something is occupying site. Who's trying to build? Oh, probably one of the walls. Yeah, one of the walls was suspended, probably because the dogs are there. We need to set that pasture up elsewhere. Let's set up a pasture. We're going to move this pasture indoors to about here. We'll have a fairly reasonable pasture. Again, this is the second time I've moved this pasture. But again, this is only meant to be here as a bit of a temporary thing. There's a stray reindeer calf. Well, that must have been brought along with one of the migrants. Fair enough. We'll let that grow up until it's nice and big, and then we can eat it. Now, they should go and get that from up here. And I'm going to go ahead and remove this zone completely. We're not going to restrict our dogs for now. We're going to let the dogs move where they want to. Hopefully, the bitch is already pregnant, if we're very lucky, because she has been in the proximity to the dog for a while now, so fingers crossed on that one. We should see some puppies in the future. And then we can train them into war puppies, and that'll be glorious. Or hunting puppies. I generally like having 1 or 2 hunting animals with any hunters I've got, just because that seems to make sense to me. What is a hunter without his faithful canine companion? Will you move? I really, really would like it to. It's covered in water. What? Why are you covered in water? That... G for general. No. Wounds? Are you wounded? No. Status? Okay. Medium-sized, highly social mammalian carnivore. It has a keen sense of smell and it can be trained to obey commands. And that is what we're going to do, hopefully. But for now, it seems to be quite happy to just stand there on the wall. How annoying. Let me just check. Is there actually a wall meant to be built there? Yes. Okay, well, we're going to cancel that wall then. Remove. Hopefully the dog will move. Yes, there we go. Sometimes you do have to fight with things a little bit to get stuff done, unfortunately. Well, put that an alder log back there, so hopefully this all gets sorted out. But with that done... Ah, good. Okay, that door has been sorted. I think we'll tie up one of these dogs. So we're going to build a restraint. This is how you tie things up. So, let's see. Restraint. I think... Yeah, there we are. Okay, we want the dogs... Generally, I want the dogs on the inside rather than on the outside because that'll protect them a little bit. Something would have to come through the door and then it would encounter the dog. I don't want my dogs in danger, honestly. So we'll build that road there because they'll still perform their task of catching someone. Though we may want to build a little sort of entryway that kind of restricts their movements away from the door. Yes, we kind of do want to do that. So another wall and make this one 2 across about there. And again, out of logs, so we'll use alder logs again. And down here the same. Now this is because when something is tied up, it can move 2 squares... it can move 1 square away from wherever it is. So, for example, if we had a dog tied there, and this tile was clear, it could legally move in that direction, which means that something could sneak past here, because it's only going to be shown up if it's within 1 tile of an entity, and then it will be noticed. So, we want the dogs to always either be directly in the line of the door, or only 1 tile away from the door at any one time. So with a dog tied there and a dog tied here, they're only going to be able to occupy these 6, 7 tiles, all of which from any one is going to show up an invader. So that will hopefully sort that out. Now it looks like we actually need a couple more bins as well, so I probably should stock those up. Let's get a couple more bins, and you know what, let's get some barrels, some buckets, and some extra bins. Let's see, where are bins? There we are. That should sort it. Now the restraint is built, so we'll build another one, which is V, by here. Now this has used up all of my pigtail fiber ropes, which is a bit of a problem, because I may need them for like traction benches should someone get badly wounded, but for now it'll be alright. Now, I want to assign an animal to the chain, and I want one of our stray dogs. There we go. And someone's already bringing along the dog there. Let's check who that is. That is Spartan. Well done, Spartan. Now, have the weapons that I commissioned been made yet? Because we actually haven't set up our military at all. We've got battle axe, 2 copper picks, crossbow. Oh, steel. Wow. Someone brought a steel battle axe? My lord. So the only thing we lack is a spear and a hammer. We're not going to bother with making a copper battle axe because someone already bought one. Fantastic. I really should have checked that before I started making things. But it worked out well in the end. Let's go ahead and make a copper spear. Now, I'm not sure if a mace or a hammer will benefit from being made of silver. Because I think silver's heavier than copper, so I'm going to possibly do something stupid here. And if it is stupid, do let me know, and I'll just make a copper one and sell the steel... sorry, not steel. Sell the silver one later on. But we'll make a silver warhammer. Go ahead and do that. Now, are these walls suspended? No, that's okay. Right, okay. Carpenters are probably doing something else at the moment. But things are starting to get a little bit more... Oh, we've got chicks! Fantastic! Let's check that out. Yes, there we go. Poults. That is awesome. Now then, with that many chicks, they will eventually mature, and I kind of want this area to hold them, so let's set them to live in here. I know it's a kind of a small room. It feels like a battery farm all of a sudden. Maybe I'll expand this, actually. That feels horrible. Yeah, we'll expand this. I can't in good conscience keep chicks in such terrible conditions. It isn't dwarvish, I tell you. We'll make it a bit bigger. We'll actually keep it a standard shape just so it's easier to assign. We'll make it about that big. There we go. So Evelyn will have a job, and that wall, I hadn't actually noticed this, but yeah, that wall doesn't look too bad. It's got a nice curve to it. The tile set, that is. I hadn't specifically picked this one because of that, but you can get really nice looking like wall graphics, and it's worth shopping around in a sense to get that sort of thing. And let's just assign the last animal here. Right, we also need to take this door off prevent passage so that Evelyn and Rock can get in there and actually hollow that out. Oh my lord, we've got an escapee chick. It's chicken run all over again. Never mind, we'll get you assigned there soon. Oh, there's nothing to catch in Eastern Swamps. Oh, bugger it, I hadn't thought of that at all. We may need to check. Are we bringing in... We've got turkey hen eggs... Got wild straw. Oh, right, that's quite cool. We'll need to set those up to be brewed. We don't appear to have any fish yet, but I don't think that would show up there. Raw fish. Right, okay. We need to actually dissect these and prepare them before we can eat them. So let's hollow out this little area here. Again, same thing as with the butcher shop. I don't particularly want the fish guts just hanging out in the fort if for some reason people aren't fast enough to... Oh yes, we've got puppies. I just noticed it. Fantastic. Well done. Only a puppy though. Oh well. We can live with that. I'm going to assign that one to this pasture though. But as I was saying, I don't want the fish guts to be hanging around in case we just don't have enough people to haul it away fast enough and then create a cloud of miasma in our cooking area. That would be pretty horrible. Right, that area is now big enough, so we're gonna go ahead and remove this zone. If I don't need to be removing these zones, please let me know. Because I'm removing them currently because I don't think they can overlap. I don't think they inherit the characteristics of the zone that was underneath them or merge with it. But if that's not true, if that's changed, please let me know, because that will get frustrating. Let's see. Let's assign these poults to this pen, and we'll make a couple more nest boxes. Let's see. We'll have quite a few. Where are you? Nest box. Rock. And this will probably be one of the last things we do. Now, at this point, I feel that our little base is quite sufficient for what we're going to be using it for. It's got water. I may make a little training grounds in here before I'm done, but that'll only be building one building in the next episode. But on the whole, I'm quite pleased with how this is turned out. We want a fishery. So this is going to be where the fish cleaning happens. Yay. Now you can make it out of blocks as well. So even though I made quite a few shale blocks and I only needed one, I can just go ahead and use that to make a building. And you'll find you can do that with a lot of things. If you're building walls and it's made of a block, it'll be a different type of wall. For example, well, with logs you won't really see it. It'll just say it's a log wall. But with stone, it'll be a rough stone wall or a smooth stone wall. That sort of thing. So for aesthetics purposes, if you're building walls in like noble rooms and things like that, it's worth using blocks for that, because I don't think you can chisel and carve a constructed wall. You can only do that to a solid stone wall. But that's about it for this episode. It may have run on slightly because I had a little bit of faffing around with Dwarf Therapy, so I'm not exactly sure how much time I'm going to be cutting out of this one, but hopefully you've enjoyed the episode. We now have, for the most part, a completely functional base camp, and we are going to be moving on to designating this in the next episode. So my plans are going to be to have a long corridor and eventually some sort of siege weapon defense system there. I don't really want much fighting to happen in here, but it is a fair point that whether I want it or not, it's probably going to happen. So our offices and like honor barracks will probably be around here, and we'll link to this corridor down there, because ideally I want to be able to restrict access in here at wartime, so that if goblins or anything should push through, then we're not going to be accidentally impaling our own people on giant sharpened trees. That would be quite sad. But that's it for this episode. As I said, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you'll join me for the next. But until then, and from everyone in Cattenvir, take care.